Welcome back. It's still Breakfast Daily, and right now it's time for us to delve into a very important and also misunderstood topic, and it's childhood diabetes. And the impact of diabetes on children can be very crucial, not just affecting their health, but also affecting their everyday activities. And right now we're going to be delving into that topic with Dr. Nelly Adade, who is a pediatrician. She's smiling because in the beginning I asked her, okay, is it Adade or Adade? But she told me it's Dr. Nelly Adade. You're welcome to the show, Doc.
Thank you.
How
Good
are
morning.
you?
I'm fine, thank you.
We are twinning.
I know, right?
Right. All right, so let's talk about childhood diabetes. Can we have a bit of overview on that?
Okay, thank you very much. So when we talk about childhood diabetes, it's quite different from diabetes in adults. Like the name rightly says, it's when you have diabetes in childhood or as a child. Okay, and it can start from any age till you get to your adolescent stage. And the youngest I've actually seen personally was an 11-month-old with diabetes.
Sorry,
Yes.
let me cut you there. Was the person born with it?
No, but then the child acquired it. So it's interesting. People think diabetes is only found in adults, but children as young as 6 months can actually get diabetes. So this child we diagnosed at 11 months, a few weeks to her celebrating her first birthday.
Oh my.
Yes. So, and with diabetes in children, it is an autoimmune disease. When we say autoimmune, it means that your body cells are fighting itself.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
it basically means. Unlike in adulthood where it's acquired
Yeah.
from your lifestyle, from your day-to-day activities.
Right.
But for children, it's mainly an autoimmune disease. And the pancreas, which produces insulin in children, is not functioning. So it's like the pancreas is just not producing the insulin you need to push the glucose you get from your eating, your everyday activities you're eating into the cells. And so you have a lot of glucose in your bloodstream that is not being taken up by the cells because the pushing factor, which is insulin, is not being produced at all. So that's basically what happens in children with diabetes, and that is why as part of the treatment they are given insulin to help push that glucose into the cells. Wow. So that's basically an overview, a simple overview of childhood diabetes.
Wow, that's very surprising because, like, in fact, it's actually insightful because I never knew it was more of an autoimmune disease.
Yes, for children.
For children,
yes.
Unlike adults that it's acquired.
Yeah.
Wow. So now, it being an autoimmune disease, obviously, autoimmune diseases mean you just need to manage it. It cannot be completely eradicated,
Yes,
right?
yes. Because your cells, your body cells are fighting against themselves. So there's really nothing you can do about it except to manage the condition. So you can't cure childhood diabetes.
Yeah.
You have to adjust your lifestyle to live with it.
Okay. So there are two types of diabetes. There's type 1 and type 2. Is it the same thing with childhood diabetes?
So there are actually more types of diabetes, but the common ones we say are the type 1 and the type 2.
More.
Yes. So the type 1 is the childhood diabetes, and then the type 2 is adult diabetes. So usually when we say someone has type 1 diabetes, it basically means that person has the childhood diabetes, which is the autoimmune form of it. There's some that occur in adolescents, so so we call that one the MODI. We have the congenital one as well. So the type 1, you can have some being right from birth
so we have
as well.
something.
Yes, and then these are some of the symptoms or signs you find when a child has diabetes. So a child will complain of feeling unusually tired, regardless of how much sleep, how much rest the child has had. The child will be unusually tired, and the child will be visiting the bathroom a lot, passing a lot of urine, daytime, nighttime, passing urine excessively.
Wow.
Yeah, it's more excessive than normal. So at night, the child will wake up a couple of times, and we call that nocturia. And then thirsty. So no matter how much water the child drinks,
They're always thirsty.
they are always thirsty. They are always thirsty. They are always thirsty. They drink water, and they've not done any activities. They've not run around, but they will tell you they want to drink water again. And then they grow thinner and thinner. So there's weight loss, So no matter how much food they are consuming, they are still not growing bigger. They are growing thinner and thinner and thinner.
Wow.
And sometimes too, they have infections. So I've seen a child who came in with vaginal candidiasis, and that
A
was the
child.
only, yes, a child, and that was how we knew that the child had diabetes. Because when you have diabetes, your immune system is totally down, and so you are prone to having a lot,
lot
of
of
infections.
infections.
So that was how come we found out that she had diabetes, because of the candida that she presented to the hospital with. So having infections and having ulcers or wounds that will not heal. So I mean, you get a cut and you
Yeah.
expect that within a couple of days it should be
Yeah,
healing
it should be
nicely.
healing.
But you realize that children with diabetes, the wound will be there, and no matter the treatment options you give, you do, regimens you do, the wound will not heal.
All right.
And so the wound will just be there.
All right. So talking about regimens, I mean, for parents with diabetes, what are some of the crucial aspects that they should be focusing on, like when it comes to, managing this?
So if you mean if a child has diabetes, what the parents should look out for. So the parents should look out for signs of hypoglycemia. So especially in older children, when you explain diabetes to them and tell them what they have, they don't want to eat as they were before. And so sometimes they get hypoglycemia. That is that their blood glucose levels drops really, really, really low. The sugar levels go very low. And we explain these to them. So they become dizzy, they feel faint, sometimes they may even collapse as a result of that. And so we tell parents to look out for, sometimes they are sweating excessively from not doing anything at all. Their hands will be shaking and shivering, and they'll be feeling very dizzy. So we tell parents, look out for these things. And then immediately, if you have any sugary drink around or food,
you have to give them.
just give it to them to take it in. So that's one of the things we tell them to look out for as well, because that one can kill very fast. I mean, when your sugar level drops very, very low, you can die as a result of it. It's better we have your sugars being higher than your sugars being very low.
Right.
So because if it's high, we can control it to come down. So we tell them to look out for signs of hypoglycemia, and they should look out for these signs in their children as well: feeling tired, drinking a lot of water, and all of that. And then they should watch what their children eat. As much as possible, we don't try to restrict diet when it comes to children with diabetes, because children still need the carbohydrates, the proteins, the fats and oils, the vegetables to grow. So we don't let them restrict their diet, but then we let them cut out on luxuries. And when I say the luxuries, I mean the sweets,
The fast foods, the
Yes.
junk foods that we all like.
Exactly. And then the chocolates. I mean,
Yeah.
they can have it once in a while. They can have ice cream once in a while. When it's a birthday party, they shouldn't feel left out. They can have a cone of ice cream, and that's fine. But it shouldn't be a regular. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be an everyday
So they can have a
thing.
treat once in a while.
Yeah, they can have a treat once in a while. So we tell parents, don't let them cut things out completely from their diet. They should eat like every child is eating. On a regular day, what do they take for breakfast? Let them have that. What they eat for lunch? Let them have that. What they eat for supper? Let them have that. But then the excesses, the luxuries, should be cut out from their diet.
All right, so you've talked about diet. When it comes to adults, they tell you, oh, there has to be a change in lifestyle. So change in lifestyle, which includes food, and now you have to start exercising. So is it the same thing with kids?
Not necessarily. Like I said, because they need all components of the nutrients to thrive and grow, we don't restrict them with their meals. They can have the meals as much as they want to. So they can eat regularly, but just cut out the luxuries. And then exercise is not mandatory that they should necessarily have exercise. But there are some children who are engaged in sports already. They already play basketball.
Yeah.
They play football.
Yeah.
So we tell them, before you engage in these activities, you can have a bite of a snack. I mean, you can take a banana, or you can take some watermelon slices, or take a sandwich before you go and have these activities. Because when you have these activities, you are going to burn a lot of your glucose, and your sugar levels can go very low. So you need the sugar to engage in these activities.
Right. So you talked about
Glycemia.
glycemia. Right. So I was watching a documentary some days ago. It just popped up on my phone, where a little girl had diabetes, but she had, in the West, people have dogs that are, companion dogs
Yes.
for people that have probably anxiety or, some sort of like mental I wouldn't call it disorder, you understand, but some sort of like
Yeah,
mental
I
problem. They have
understand.
like all these companion dogs
With them.
that they can even go to school with them
Yeah.
because that's their job. So there was one for, you know, sensing when her sugar level
Yes.
is low.
Yeah.
And I'm like, a dog?
Yes.
So anytime he feels that, he actually just starts, you know, barking and keeps following her to make sure that nothing happens to her. So do we have such in Ghana?
I'm not
Maybe
sure
not
we
the dogs,
do.
but like, are there any, you know, maybe watches or tools to know when a child is feeling? You know, children, you know, they might not even tell you what's wrong with them. They're just excited, but something is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've actually come across a similar documentary before, and it's something that was really helpful to the parents. One family actually didn't want it initially, but with time when the dog was trained, they got to realize how useful it was. Unfortunately, I don't know if we have such in Ghana, but then we, as much as possible, we educate the children. We talk to their teachers as well, and then
The
we tell
teachers.
exactly, and then we tell them to tell a friend or two that they can trust. You know, children have best friends.
Yeah.
So that when they are with that friend and something is happening, the friend can know that this is what's happening to their
Right.
child. So we educate them themselves, their parents, their teachers. We tell them to even sometimes tell a neighbor
Yeah.
or a friend so that they can look out for them. But interestingly, when you teach them the signs of hypoglycemia, they own it and they are able to take actions. They
Right.
can tell you that I think my sugar levels have gone low, and they can go to the fridge and take
And take a Coke or something.
yes,
Yeah.
and take a drink or eat quickly. And they can tell you that I had hypoglycemia. When they come for reviews, they tell you I had hypoglycemia on this day. And the best thing is to check your sugar levels
Yes.
and know. But I mean that going to check your sugar levels will take a few seconds, minutes,
Yeah.
which you can use to take in something quickly to restore the levels of the glucose in your blood.
All right. So do these kids take insulin shots too?
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay.
So for children with type 1 diabetes or children with diabetes, their main treatment is insulin.
So they can take it themselves?
Yes, they
Okay.
learn how to inject it. There.
Yeah.
It's interesting, they learn to do it by themselves. So they are
Because I used to
areas
inject my dad.
You used to inject. As
Yeah.
for adults, the least said about them, the
Yeah.
better.
So I actually used to, you know, inject my dad.
So children tend to do it themselves.
Right.
I mean, sometimes after the age of 7, 8, when you teach them, they're able to do it themselves. So either on the shoulder, on the thigh,
Yeah.
on the abdomen,
Yeah.
on the buttocks, they're
Sure.
able to do it themselves. And then when they come to the hospital, we check for the injection sites, and then you see the needle pricks over
Wow.
there. They are
Well done.
heroes because I'm scared of needles myself, so I'm actually inspired when I see that these children are able to do this by themselves. They
Right.
own what they have, and then they are very responsible for their condition.
All right, so I mean, we've come to the end of this, but what message of hope would you like to give to parents out there that have kids suffering from diabetes or kids that have diabetes?
Okay, so what I would like to say is that having childhood diabetes is not the end of life. It's not a death sentence. The children just have to adjust to live with the conditions, and they can actually get to their full potential with the type 1 diabetes. So it's not a death sentence at all. Do not be despaired. Do not lose hope. Just do the things your pediatrician is asking you to do. Go for regular visits. Ensure that the child is taking the insulin shots, eating right, exercising if the child has to or is into sports already, and then I think everything will be fine. It's just a condition they have to learn to live with, and the complications may arise earlier if the sugar control is not optimum. Otherwise, the children can get to their full potential.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Nelly Adade. How can people reach out to you?
So I'm on Instagram. My social media handle is the PediaDoc. I do a lot of advocacy over there. So parents can reach out to me. The PediaDoc, yes. So parents can reach out to me if you have questions. We have organizations, children with diabetes, who have groups as well that you can be linked to, and then you can reach out to
like
them
support
as well.
groups.
Support groups, yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nelly. It was really nice having you on the show. And I'm sure you enjoyed this segment because it was very insightful and educational. Remember that, like she said, it's not a death sentence. Childhood diabetes is not a death sentence. It's just about knowing how to manage it and do what your pediatrician asks you to do. If you're wondering where to get her, she's on social media, like she said. So go out there and follow her and reach out to her.